This may be the most absurd, ridiculous, funny, coolest, but yes, silliest story I have ever read. Muslim terrorists will try to wipe out Europe with a chemical attack in 2020. Vladimir Putin will survive an assassination attempt and Donald Trump will fall ill, predicts the blind mystic Baba Vanga, who foresaw 9/11. Okay, I want to make sure it's clear. The story is silly, not true, but I think it's really fun to read about a blind Bulgarian mystic named Baba Vanga, a cult conspiracy theory figure who died in 1996 but predicted 9/11 and believes Donald Trump will fall ill in 2020. Let's read the story and engage in some holiday silliness and have a good time. They say, Donald Trump will suffer deafness and mortal illness in 2020, and Vladimir Putin will have to fend off an assassination attempt, while Europe is bracing for a chemical attack from Muslim extremists, according to the blind Bulgarian mystic who supposedly predicted 9/11. Baba Vanga has become a cult figure among conspiracy theorists after some of her pronouncements proved eerily true. Although she died in 1996, her predictions run until the year 5079, and this year's forecast makes worrying reading for the White House, Kremlin, and people of Europe. However, Trump and Putin can draw reassurances from the fact that last year's predictions were extremely similar and no such fate has befallen them in 2019. Let's be real, they're not real. If I wrote down 50,000 predictions and then waited until one of them came true, I could pick it up and say, look, I wrote it a year ago. People do this all the time. There are people, they'll make a new account on Twitter and they'll tweet something like, in 3 years, so-and-so will win the Super Bowl, mark my words. And they'll get really specific and they'll make like 70 tweets explaining all these weird things. And then once the actual day happens, they'll delete all the other tweets and go, aha, I called it. No, you just tweeted literally everything. So if she's going to predict over and over again something will happen and then one of them comes true, yeah, broken clock is right twice a day. I'm sorry I just killed the fun before we started, but let's read on and see what she's predicting. They say this, so I'm going to read this. How good is Baba Vanga's record? 29 prediction. Doom for Trump and Putin. Baba Vanga's 2019 forecasts were very similar to her 2020 predictions. Foreseeing illness for Trump and an assassination attempt for Putin, she also predicted a European economic collapse. Result, Trump and Putin have both survived unscathed and Europe's economy has sputtered but not collapsed. However, in 2018, the rise of China, she predicted China would become the next great superpower and a new form of energy would emerge on Venus. That's strangely futuristic and no end. China's status as a global power has risen since Baba Vanga's death, but there is no reason to single out 2018. There was no major discovery on Venus. 2017, the end of America. Prediction, America's 44th president would be the last one. According to some versions, she also predicted he would be black. Barack Obama was indeed the first African-American president, but Donald Trump became the 45th president in January 2017. Let me stop. Let's have some fun. Let's play silly games. She predicted Obama would be the last. Perhaps something happened in 2016 where our universe fractured and somehow Donald Trump became president. And in Earth Prime, of which we are no longer in, maybe it was just me, I got sucked into Earth, 5073 or something, but Earth Prime, America ended and all these things came true. I don't know. I'm being silly. But yeah, Trump ended up winning and a lot of people were shocked. Maybe that some people would predict. Actually, many people on the left would probably say that was the end of America. She predicted the end of Europe in 2016. Europe was rattled by the 2016 Brexit results, but ceased to exist as an extreme interpretation. So she pointed to 2016 as the year Europe would cease to exist, making a dire prediction of empty spaces and wasteland nearly devoid of any form of life. Some people apparently claimed that she was right because Brexit leaving was like fracturing Europe. But apparently she said there would be just wastelands and no life. Not true. Boxing Day tsunami in 2004. She predicted a huge wave will cover a big coast covered with people and towns, and everything will disappear beneath the water. Everything will melt just like ice. In 2004, Boxing Day tsunami brought devastation to Indonesia, Sri Lanka, India, Thailand, and other countries, killing more than 230,000. Was that a correct prediction? Well, I'll tell you what, man. If I was going to say something like next year, there will be an earthquake that will hurt many people. Yeah, okay, earthquakes happen, you know what I mean? What if I wrote down 50 times, right? She apparently predicted 9/11. Baba Vanga predicted horror for the US, warning in 1989 that the American brethren will fall after being attacked by the Steel Birds. 4 hijacked planes brought terror to America. Steel Birds could be referenced to those jets. It could also, I got to be honest, I don't know what else it would be a reference to, but the truth is, in 1989, there was already a concept of people using commercial airliners in these ways, so I don't think, she had a specific date or whatever. It doesn't sound like a good prediction to me. This is becoming less fun, I have to admit, but let's read anyway. Actually, let's go back to the main story. They say the predictions attributed to Baba Vanga for 2020 have Trump suffering a brain tumor that leaves him deaf and may even kill him. The Bulgarian mystic also predicts an assassination attempt against Putin. They said it a million times, we get it. Baba Vanga's prophecies of doom also include an army of Muslim extremists invading Europe with chemical weapons. Followers of the blind fortune teller have been citing the same prediction of Europe's downfall for years, and no such disaster has come to pass. Her claim that Europe would cease to exist by 2016 drew knowing nods when Britain voted to leave the EU in that year's referendum, rattling Brussels and sparking a bitter political fallout. But hold on. What if she said something like, 2016 will be the end of Europe, or will bring the end of Europe, and then it will leave, a wasteland? What if Brexit is that, and it's going to take a few years before we actually get to that point? I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, let's be real. It's just an old blind lady who said a bunch of things that didn't come true, but come on. It's the holidays. Let's laugh a little bit. However, even the most ardent Remainer would not claim that the result has left empty spaces and wasteland nearly devoid of any form of life, as Baba Vanga foresaw. Her predicted Great Muslim War in Europe has not materialized, depending on who you ask, but no chemical weapons. An attempt against Putin cannot be ruled out, and a genuine plot to kill him was stopped in 2012. But come on, Putin is one of the most powerful men in the world. He's a leader of a big country. It happens. However, the Russian president surrounds himself with a highly trained sniper squad whose only task is to keep him alive. Putin should also be watching the skies for a giant meteorite, which is due to hit Russia, according to Baba. Okay, I gotta show you. Here's the picture of her. The blind Bulgarian mystic who predicted many things, and yeah, most of them never came true. I don't necessarily know why people latch on to stories like this, or people like this. There are a lot of people who claim things are going to come true and they don't come true. When I predicted the Republicans were going to sweep in 2018 and I was wrong, I didn't claim to be a prophet, but maybe that was my mistake. Maybe if I closed my eyes and said, oh, it's a fact, this will happen, people would believe it was magical, when in reality, you're just looking at the news at the time. If she's going to make a prediction about a world leader and assassination, that's just common sense. If I said the world leader of one of the nation's most powerful countries will face an assassination attempt in the next decade, yes, that's a high probability. That's why they have sniper teams. It's why they have bodyguards. I'll put it this way. I feel like a lot of people do like stories like this because, let's be honest, life is predictable, routine, and for a lot of people, kind of boring. People then like latching on to conspiracy theories for a few reasons. One, it makes life more exciting, and it also provides simple explanations for things that make you feel like it's out of your control. When people feel like they can't control the world around them, it's easier to blame a system. The right and the left have their versions of this. The left blames the oppressor. The government and the system of patriarchy is oppressing us. Ooh, yeah, that's a conspiracy. Sorry, it's not true. But then you get really fringe right-wing type, individuals who think the government is controlling our minds and weird, aliens or whatever. I don't necessarily think it's fair to just call those people right-wing, but I'll be honest with you guys. You're more likely to find fringe right-wing conspiracy theorists than you are to find fringe left-wing of the same, conspiracy theory, right? So when it comes to the left's conspiracy theories, they use ideologies and they think, like the New York Times published that conspiracy theory about the US trying to establish a slaveocracy. They make up these weird things. It's very different from what the right conspiracy theories are. But everybody falls victim to them because it's easier to blame someone else than to accept that humans are kind of like a runaway chemical reaction. And, it's like dominoes falling over. Things happen because other things happen. It is just a constant chain of events. One thing leads to another, and we're kind of spiraling out of control, and there's not much we can do about it. Perhaps humans are heading towards the right path, perhaps they're not. But I'll tell you this, when your life is crappy, it's easier to look to someone and think they have magic powers, and that can, and they're going to predict things, because it's easier to believe that when you can't solve a problem, you couldn't have in the first place. In reality, you can solve your problems. In reality, this stuff is magic, and it's not likely to be true. But a lot of people want to believe it. It's what the left is. So I'll tell you this. I'll wrap up with one final thought. You know what I think the left is right now? It is a massive conspiracy theory movement that refuses to accept responsibility for their actions and their failures and blames a conspiracy of white cis heteronormative patriarchy. They basically make up weird nonsense and accuse everybody of all these weird things because they believe in a conspiracy theories, where they think people like me are secretly plotting to like send memes out to people so that I can convert children to fascism. When in reality, I'm like a pretty libertarian lefty person. Anyway, it's super noisy. They're doing construction. It's Christmas Eve. I hope you all have a happy holiday, and I will see you tomorrow on Christmas Day at 10 a.m. because I don't stop working. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all tomorrow.